Hi, everyone. Welcome back to WorkTech. I'm George LaRocque, and we've got a pretty big announcement in the world of work technology, specifically recruiting. The recruiting platform, iCIMS, has announced this week that they've acquired CandidateID, and there's a lot to unpack on this deal. I'm excited about it, and I'm joined by two folks who are the best to talk about it. Adam Gordon, the CEO and co-founder of CandidateID, and Mike Wilczak, the Chief Product and Development Officer from iCIMS. Welcome to both of you.
Great. Thanks, George. It's great to be here.
Cool. Well, before we get started, just in case anybody in our world has been, living under a rock for the last couple of years, if we could maybe get an intro from each of you and a little bit about iCIMS and a little bit about CandidateID. Mike, let's start with you.
Yeah, so Mike Wilczak, Chief Product and Development Officer for the company. I have responsibility for products, partnerships, and acquisitions for iCIMS, and I've been with the company now for 8 years. The company is very much focused on becoming the leader globally for providing software that enables companies everywhere of every size to effectively attract, engage, hire, and advance talent.
Awesome. Thanks. Adam?
I'm Adam Gordon. I'm co-founder and CEO at CandidateID. That's not actually my job title anymore. I've just realized I need to stop saying that. I'm actually now VP of Recruitment Marketing Automation at iCIMS, but effectively, I still fulfill the role of CEO of the CandidateID part of the business. CandidateID is a marketing automation technology that we started thinking about back in 2015 and sort of launched to the market 5 years ago in January 2017. For those of you that are watching this that aren't familiar with marketing automation technology, effectively it tracks and scores each prospect's clicks around your career site, your social media, other online assets, your employer brand sort of estate. And what that means is you can filter all your candidates by a real-time engagement score, and you can set up billions of marketing automation. So every time somebody clicks, that automatically determines what happens next, and you can provide a real-time personalized experience at scale.
Great. Yeah, I imagine anybody in the space for any time knows both firms, but it's always good to put that out there. So let's dig into this deal. I'm curious what the timing is always very curious to me of these deals. Like what was happening in the market, or what was going on from a business perspective that led you to start exploring this acquisition?
Yeah, happy to kick off. And Adam, I'm sure you have a ton of thoughts as well. But I think the world recognizes that we're at this generational disruption in the labor market. The power has really shifted from the employer that has the jobs that they're trying to fill to the candidate that has more choices and more opportunity than ever before, right? It's not just labor shortages, right? There just aren't enough people to fill the jobs that are already open, but skill shortages. There aren't enough people with the right skills to fill the jobs that are open. And people now have the ability to actually explore a job anywhere in the world. And so it's created this disconnect between, the market of talent and the market of companies trying to find that talent. So our customers are telling us, look, we're looking for different ways that we can connect with talent. We're looking for different ways that we can be more effective in connecting with talent and building our pipelines. And so we're really focused on how do we enable companies to quickly identify the candidates that are the right fit? How do we enable companies to create automation that helps facilitate and create velocity in that process? How do we help companies create perpetual engagement, not transactional engagement? And then how do we enable companies to focus on those people that are not just the right fit because they have the skill sets or the skills to potentially fill a role, but because they're engaged with your company. They want to work with your company. And so if you can bring that automation, if you can bring that fit score, if you can bring that engagement score together, it really makes a completely different experience for the company trying to go find and engage with talent. So that's really what opened our minds to this idea that there has to be a technology in the market that brings all of that together, not just who to target, not just the content, not just the different channels to reach that person, but the automation and engagement and scoring, putting it all together into one thing. And that's really what we found when we started talking with Adam and Scott at CandidateID.
How about from your side, Adam? What made the timing, right for CandidateID?
I mean, there's a few different things, really. We, back in about just over 2 years ago, I think February 2020, we saw an announcement from iCIMS that it had a new CEO. And when we saw that that new CEO was the guy who built Marketo and sold it to Adobe, Scott and I just thought, this is going to be great for us. It's going to really shine a spotlight on marketing automation in our industry. And we kind of, at that time, we thought, yeah, it'd be good if iCIMS kind of got into marketing automation and, we could start having more voices looking at the same kind of, technology that we're building. And what we didn't necessarily imagine was 2 years later, we were actually being acquired by the company. But, we knew that Steve joining talent acquisition technology was going to be good for us in one way or another. So in terms of timing, I'll be honest, 2020 was a really tough year. I mean, we were impacted by, a lot of businesses who were furloughing their TA teams and doing things like that. And so moving into a more sophisticated area of technology in their TA tech stack was not the top priority, for the first 6 months of the pandemic. But from about September 2020 onwards, we just kept growing. And, to get to the size that we've got to, we were very pleased about that. But to take it to, 1,000 customers, we needed bigger wings. And so when we started talking with Mike and a couple of his colleagues back in sort of summer last year, it really opened our eyes to the possibility of becoming part of iCIMS, and the customer fit, culture fit, a whole load of different things about the iCIMS business made us think that this was a great idea. So we really started accelerating the conversations in December and January. And at CandidateID, we're really delighted to have become part of the iCIMS business.
Yeah, I like that, bigger wings, the need for bigger wings. That's a great way to describe it. So, I'm big on disclosure. A lot of people put content out. And before I give these compliments out, I just want to say iCIMS is not a customer, nor is CandidateID. The interesting thing for me here, talking about those wings, I mean, iCIMS has been in the market a while, and I describe iCIMS as an execution machine, right? So I've just watched, Mike, you mentioned companies of all sizes. I go back to when iCIMS was focused more on the SMB and middle market, and now today, really a leader and powerhouse in the large enterprise and middle market and SMB. So, there's that. So those wings, I definitely see that. And then you've both talked about marketing automation, and I love the tidbit about the new CEO at iCIMS. Because Adam, we've had this conversation before. The concept of pipelining and scoring and sort of behavioral analytics is almost a given in the B2B and B2C world. And I wrote an article about you. You reminded me here earlier before we started a year ago saying, this is something that TA really needs to be thinking about. And so it makes this deal just makes really good sense given the components that iCIMS brings to the table. And I see those wings. So thinking about how you'll fit and how those wings are going to attach, Mike, how do you see CandidateID fitting into the platform? Will it become part of the platform, or will it be both part of the platform and independently offered, or it's early, so it's okay if we don't know yet, but I'm curious what your vision is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, Adam and the team have built a great business selling this product as a standalone to companies that are trying to solve, how they build and engage and manage that pipeline of talent. I don't want to stop that. right? We want to continue to have that, focus on enabling companies to buy the CandidateID product. It'll eventually obviously be branded as an iCIMS product, but let's continue that. I think the other opportunity is we do have, as you said, thousands of customers that are already using iCIMS in some way or another. And now we have the opportunity to make this a fully integrated product as part of the iCIMS Talent Cloud. Use this as a way to bring together all of the other components that we've built in our platform, like content creation, like the distribution channels, right? And put this automation behind it so that it becomes a really totally integrated experience that is seamless for the customers that are already using iCIMS. So we'll continue on both paths. We'll continue to offer this to companies as a standalone product. We'll continue to focus on offering this as an integrated solution to companies that are buying iCIMS today, or new companies that want to buy iCIMS. And this could be one of the entryways into it.
Yeah. So it sounds, you talked about how your customers, have been focused in this area. It sounds like the impact for your customers, Mike, will be, or for iCIMS customers will be really just added capabilities. And do you see this as when you think about the product roadmap? Does this open new doors for iCIMS?
Yeah, it does, right? I think this is a sort of a central capability, I guess I would say, right? Where it gets more and more impactful the more we integrate all of our other products into it. And the use case here is not just on how do I go build a pipeline of potential talent to bring into my company. It's equally as valuable in measuring engagement scores for things like the onboarding process, right? It's equally valuable in managing my relationship with my existing employees and helping me understand, what roles people are interested in, helping me understand the pipeline of talent I have in my existing company, helping me understand who's engaged and potentially looking for another role within my company. So we see this as something that cuts across the entirety of the iCIMS Talent Cloud, from talent attraction all the way through talent mobility.
Okay. Yeah. That's thinking about that sort of insight, onboarding and into talent mobility. That's pretty exciting. Adam, how do you see the impact for CandidateID customers? How do you see this moving forward?
Yeah. We've had numerous situations in the last year where customers have said to us, if we had a career site attached to CandidateID, that would be really great. If we had video solutions that we could just open up from inside CandidateID, that would be really great. If we had a chat bot, if we had a whole variety of things, everything we've been asked for in the last year is within iCIMS' existing product portfolio. So the ability to offer all these things natively within CandidateID is going to be something that a lot of our customers will really benefit from and appreciate. Yeah.
So we've talked about sort of the market implications and how the deal happened and implications on customers and a little bit of roadmap. I'd like to talk about a constituency that a lot of times doesn't get talked about when these deals happen, but that's the employees. And I'm curious, this represents, you're located in Scotland, right, Adam? And so there's some additional feet on the ground in Europe for iCIMS. I know you've had presence there already, but how will this impact those constituencies on both sides? Adam, why don't you go first?
Well, first of all, I want to say that Mike and a couple of the other iCIMS execs have been over here in Glasgow with us for the last couple of days, talking about what this means for my team. And I can tell you that they're all excited. They're all really excited because they've enjoyed working for a nimble startup organization where they can have an idea and make it happen 20 minutes later. But they're all really excited about the additional career opportunities that they're going to have within a company with 1,300 professionals around the world. So they're all quite wide-eyed about the scale within iCIMS and the different teams and what they all do. And within customer success, it's been really interesting because there's, for our customer success team who are like spinning a lot of plates, there might be 8 different units within iCIMS that handles all of those things. So I think our team's very excited about that. And they're getting inducted in a really comprehensive onboarding program, which when I heard about how it was going to work, I just thought, that's incredible. I've never seen anything like this. And I said to Mike, I feel quite honored to be the 6th company that's been acquired by iCIMS recently, because it feels like a very, very, well-oiled machine. And we're going to get inducted into the full range of, iCIMS products, and we're going to be on the lookout for opportunities with our existing customers to introduce them to people that can, talk to them about applicant tracking solutions and all sorts of other things as well. So it's going to be great for the team that I've built, and they're very excited.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. That's good to hear.
Yeah, I'll weigh in. I mean, so for us, it's not just about the product or the business that we're buying. It's about the people that are coming with it. And having done several acquisitions now at iCIMS and probably 20 acquisitions prior, the success of every deal that I've done has come down to the quality of the people. It's never been about the product or sales motions or anything. It's the quality of the people, because you're going to encounter things that you can't plan for. And these things are challenging. They need good leadership. Adam and Scott have been just amazing leaders along this entire journey. And when we go into thinking about how we're going to integrate these companies, we are a people-centered business. It's not just software that we build for people, right? It's a whole culture in our company around how do we enable talent to be successful in companies. And it's just sort of part of our DNA as a company. And so, as Adam said, we've already spent a good amount of time with the employees over the last couple of days, having those conversations about who we are as a business, about what the impact is on them, what the potential is for them, and how they can use this as a way to continue to grow in their careers. We are also continuing to invest, across the entire company, particularly in a lot of the things that we've been doing in Europe. So we now have offices in Paris, in Dublin, in London, and now a good group of people in Glasgow. So yeah, how this impacts the employees is front of mind in everything that we think about in these acquisitions.
Yeah. And that's, I'm not surprised to hear that, just given, I've met a lot of the iCIMS team over the years, and that's rings very consistent. What are some other factors that, when you're looking at an acquisition, just stepping back in general, we do have a lot of operators who consume content at WorkTech. So, and I'm sure a lot of them would love to get acquired by iCIMS someday. So what are some of the other things that you might look at beyond the team and the people, which I know is probably top of your list?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty straightforward, right? It's probably the same set of things that everybody looks at. People fit, very, very important. We've already talked about that. Product fit, right? Is this something that is a SaaS product? Is it in the category of things that we want to offer to our customers? Can we integrate it? And what would that experience be? And is the company, at the top of the market? There's no sense in acquiring companies that aren't, best in category for the products that they offer. So from product fit, that's a big consideration for us. Market fit is also important. As we continue to service different markets and different geographies and different kinds of verticals, we look for companies that are selling and servicing, those same kinds of things. And the proof point for us is always around whether we have mutual customers. Are there customers buying us? And also, buying the company that we're considering acquiring. That always helps to sort of validate that this is a company that can sell to the customers that we have at iCIMS. Financial fit. I mean, look, we're a company that continues to grow. We're a company that continues to focus on gross margins and profitability. So that's it. Product fit, go-to-market fit, financial fit, and people fit. Those are probably the 4 big things on my mind.
Cool. Yeah, great insight. And Adam, from your perspective, you talked a lot about this early on in the conversation about the getting to know iCIMS and the CEO there. But what when you were thinking about an exit, sort of stepping back, what most important to you in finding where candidate ID would land?
Yeah, so beyond the people, as I mentioned, it was the sort of synergy in customer base. So we look at iCIMS customers and we go, yeah, they would have a lot of success with candidate ID, like almost all of them. Big presence in healthcare, big presence in tech industry and business services, for example. So that was a big thing for us as well. And then the vision around, how could they really help us to accelerate the adoption of marketing automation technologies, not just at the top of the funnel, but all the way through that recruitment, process. And one of the examples I give is today we're sending hot leads into recruiters because a candidate's engagement score is going up and they're looking at job descriptions and things like that. But actually, what about if the candidate gets offered the job, but they don't click on their contract yet, or they don't open the message or something like that? We want them to get an alert. We want the recruiter to get told, your candidate got offered 2 days ago, but they haven't actually done what we would expect them to do if they're going to start in the organization. So, when we wrote out what are all the different things that you could do with candidate ID, and the other side did the same, there was a very close resemblance of what's possible. And so, yeah, we talked the same language. And so they were some of the reasons. Big customer base, of course, within iCIMS, and a well-educated customer base as well. They're not necessarily just taking the technologies that they're given that come with other internal HRIS packages or whatever. They've gone and made an active choice to buy, iCIMS products. So, educated customer base was another thing.
Yeah. Again, great insight. And one last question, Adam: has everybody at CandidateID received their vest also? You both. You look very uniform, but on brand. You're both on brand. That's good. Well, I want to thank you both for your time. And again, a great deal. Adam, from the point where CandidateID came on the market, you've endeared yourself to the industry. I hope we get to see as much or more of you as you take on your new role. Mike, congrats. Congrats to both of you. And I'm sure iCIMS will do big things with CandidateID, or continue to do big things. And thanks for your time.
Yeah, thanks, George. I appreciate the opportunity to come on.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, George.